In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on leveling up your character in Russian Fishing 4, the most realistic fishing simulator on the market. If you've been wondering what the officially recommended path is to take on your fishing journey, as well as have an interest in 15 additional helpful tips, well then make sure to watch to the end of this video, because this information comes straight from the perch's mouth, which is to say, the devs helped me write this script. So, without further explanation, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, pack your tackle boxes, and give thanks to RF4 for sponsoring this video. And of course, let's cast into it, everyone.
It's Bow Angles.
The legendary Bow Angles.
Let's start this mud puppy off with levels 1 to 12. Now, to give you a short backstory for those of you who haven't played RF4 yet, this game is a unique RPG fishing experience. That's a role-playing game for those of you who do not know. At the start of the game, you're taking on the role of someone who is new to fishing, i.e. level 1, using inherited old fishing gear to get you started. So, if you're truly new to fishing, then this is a great spot to be in, as you will learn how to fish as your character learns how to fish in the game. But I've got a separate video for that in the works, so we'll touch on that later. But essentially, you're at ground zero. You learn the basics of the game through the short tutorial on float fishing, but you haven't placed skill points in anything just yet. So whether you're float fishing or spin fishing in these early levels, expect your casts to be short, off target, and quite honestly, your lure and bait representation to be a little less desirable to all the fish you're casting towards, just because, well, you're kind of new to all this. But once you make your way through float fishing into spin fishing, it's time to ask yourself, which do you enjoy more, spin fishing or float fishing? That's because with each level up from level 1 to 11, RF4 will be granting you additional fishing gear to help you out with your favorite method. Now, it's important to note that the game will grant you this gear depending upon which method you are using as you level up. So for example, if you're float fishing for 99% of that level experience, but your last 1% of experience comes in the way of a perch you caught while using a spinning rod, well, you'll be receiving spin fishing gear. But it's also important to decide because the guide is split depending upon if you like spin fishing, which would be more beneficial at Winding Rivulet, versus float or bottom fishing with bait, which would work best if you went to Mosquito Lake. But to be quite honest, you may end up doing a blend of both in these early stages just for fun. So without further ado, let's get started. From levels 1 through 12, while spin fishing at the Winding Rivulet, try aiming towards tree branches in the water, with spinners and spoons where hungry chub, perch, and pike may be hiding. Just be sure not to get snagged in those branches, but in case you do, I'll give you a tip. Just travel to a different fishing location to save your lure and a huge headache. Find your favorite locations to fish and rotate between them to keep fishing pressure down. Aspen-eyed are likely bycatches as you're making your way around Winding Rivulet, but to target Volga Zander, which is similar to a walleye for you Americans, try jigging a spoon in deeper locations near sandy beaches. Continue fishing, selling your catches to the cafe, and allocating your skill points upon leveling up to spinning skills such as using a spinning reel, fishing with a spinning rod, and fishing with spinnerbaits, even if what you're using is technically just called a spinner in the US, to make money and improve your casts and your ability to catch and handle fish. When fighting fish, learn to direct the rod in the opposite direction the fish is heading in order to maintain line tension. Make use of the hook set animation by striking with the control plus right mouse button to ensure the hook is well in. And if your focus is more on XP than money, you can always release the fish for a slight bonus to your experience gain if it's offered. As far as gear is concerned, continue using your starter spinning rod and reel, and make sure to take advantage of the beginner light rod and reel given to you at level 11, which works great up to Belaya River. Just make sure you're spin fishing as you level up to level 11, or you may get something different. As far as lures are concerned, you can take advantage of the Dragonfly Bell Spinner at 6 grams, which is easy to obtain, as well as the 7-gram Hypnotic Spoons, though it is recommended to upgrade the hooks on these to improve your hookups with the fish. You could work towards purchasing Aquila spinners, spikers, or vibra spinners, which are all easy to use but fairly expensive in these beginning 12 levels. And if you need some longer term gear to work towards, consider the Mekta SM88MH spinning rod at 960 silver, the Dragon 30S spinning reel at 363 silver, which works great with light and medium light lures up to Balea. You can upgrade from there to the Alpha 6000 spinning reel at a whopping 1887 silver, which can pair well with the Mekta rod and can work quite well up to char and lake trout on Quarry Lake and pike at Old Berg. On the flip side, if you're float fishing from levels 1 through 12, continue using that basic float rig targeting bleak, gudgeon, and dace, as well as Donuts Rough at night. You can additionally fish for bream, gibble, and crucian carp, which are more popular at Mosquito Lake, though the devs feel skill point growth, XP, and silver will likely be better at Whining Rivulet, so long as you follow some of the tips at the end. You can take advantage of the beginner telescopic rod set given to you at level 11, but once again, make sure you're float fishing as you level up to ensure you get that float fishing set. Very important. While targeting bream, set your float depth as close to the bottom as possible. This can be found by purchasing a fishing map of the location at the administration building. The depth of the area you're fishing is measured in meters, so make sure to increase or decrease your float depth appropriately. While targeting bleak or dace, use small hooks from size number 24 to number 20 to increase your frequency of bites, as well as size number 12 to number 4 hooks for bream, tench, gibble, or crucian carp. Consider using flies, horseflies, or bloodworms for bleak, though using horseflies on number 18 hooks should be used with caution as they may attract the odd asp or eyed as well, which could be a little difficult on the beginner float rod. And remember that if you want to fish with multiple float rods, you can press 0 to place the rod in a rod holder while waiting for a bite. As you make your way to levels 12 through 16, consider heading to Old Berg Lake for float and bottom fishing, or Balea River if you prefer spin fishing. Consider using a light spinning set for Balea River, which can be easily supplied via purchasing a kit, such as the beginner light start set at 156 silver. You can, however, make use of your level 11 spinning rod if you happen to get that reward. Make sure to upgrade your line to 8 pounds and utilize a 7-pound fluorocarbon leader, which can work great with lighter spinning lures such as the Aquila spinners, spikers, or vibra spinners. This will allow you to work up to a rod and reel, such as the Mekta SM88MH spinning rod at 960 silver and the Dragon 30S spinning reel at 363 silver. Your targets at Balea are brown trout and grayling, which should be a fairly frequent catch, just casting around the eastern side of the map towards half-submerged boulders or otherwise. Now, if you're headed to Old Berg Lake for float and bottom fishing, consider a Fortuna Feeder FD420 bottom rod at 549 silver and the Pulsar 6000 spinning reel at 1437 silver, or your level 11 bonus float rod setup for tench. The devs made sure to note that it may take you a bit longer to get the Pulsar 6000 reel, so feel free to use whatever reel you can get for the time being. And when you can afford it, the Pulsar 6000 is a fantastic choice, and will remain a good reel into higher levels. Using size 12 to number 4 size hooks, target bream, tench, and eel at Old Berg depending upon the time of day. Eel and tench can be great targets during the day using cheese or night crawlers, but it is warned that the night crawlers may attract some larger carp, which could be a bit difficult with your current equipment. Consider using fish fillets if you can get them to target just eel. At night though, bream are a great target for lower level gear, using porridge or dough for bait or pearl barley. I would like to make the additional note that the developers also think that float fishing with flies and mayflies at Balea River for grayling and trout is also a lot of great fun. As you hit levels 16 through 20, you may consider fishing Quarry Lake for spin fishing or Old Berg again for bottom fishing eel and bream, as well as spin fishing for pike, though a steel leader comes highly recommended if you're using hypnotic spoons and ugly fellow wobbler lures, which do require the wobbler skill from the skill tree. Bear Lake is also a possibility at this level range, however your targets of barbel, carp, and grass carp can be difficult without the proper tackle or gear, so it may be best to put this off until level 20. If you're headed to Quarry Lake for spin fishing, consider targeting lake trout, char, Quarry char, and Arctic char with a setup such as the Mekta SM88MH spinning rod at 960 silver and the Dragon 30S spinning reel at 363 silver, as you continue to work your way up to the Alpha 6000 at a whopping 1887 silver. You can cast from shore or consider trolling from a boat to target these fish with spinners or wobblers, such as the funky minnow. Just make sure to get that wobbler skill from the skill tree or you won't be able to use them. Alternatively, you can use spoons to jig or troll with, as well as use topwater lures such as the Angry Walker or X-Walker, which can work great fishing from shore with the right rig. At level 20, it's noted that the game opens up a bit more for you as far as options go. You start to be able to use the same equipment to target different fish at different locations, depending upon what is biting best. You also now have the option to fish at one of the favorite carp fishing locations in the game, Bear Lake, for bottom fishing. Target tench, various carp species, as well as common barbel, the latter of which has been noted as being a very good way to farm skill points for bottom fishing. Good gear options for this lake would be number 5 to number 2 size hooks for carp and number 12 to number 4 size hooks for barbel on the Fortuna feeder FD420 at 549 silver, paired with the Caliber HSV reel at 3300 silver. Though the Fortuna carp rod at 1900 silver may be a good upgrade if you've got the money, as it will last for many level ranges beyond Bear Lake. Bear Lake will continue to be a fantastic fishing location for many more levels, so this can be a great reason to join the RF4 Discord and keep track of what baits and locations are currently working, so you can capitalize in your own fishing game, getting more money, upgrading your gear, and gaining more levels and skill points in the process. Now, if you're more interested in spinning gear, you may be better off sticking to Quarry Lake for now until you get to levels 22 to 26. Now moving on to levels 22 to 26, Seversky Donets River is a great option for float and spin fishing, while Bear Lake continues to be the go-to for bottom fishing. Consider targeting herring, sunbass, and shamaya at Seversky Donets River with mayfly, flies, and other insects, which are fantastic fish to farm skill points for when it comes to float fishing. Many different float rods will work well here, such as the ultralight float setup, while your previous spinning setup from Quarry Lake or Old Berg will work great for pike and Volga Zander, while chub and asp come as common bycatches. At level 24, the Fortuna carp rod at 1900 silver and the Caliber HSV at 3300 silver, as well as a Master telescopic rod, will work fantastic for Seversky Donets River. From level 26 to 28, you've got more locations at your disposal: Ladoga Archipelago, Copper Lake, and Amber Lake. Use these new locations to target various carp species, spin fishing and jigging for char, or float fishing in the shallows of Ladoga Archipelago. Great bottom fishing gear for this level range is still going to be the Fortuna carp rod and the HSV reel at 5200 silver combined. Alternatively, for spin fishing, the Evora spinning rod at nearly 4,000 silver and Alpha 6000 reel at 2,170 silver can be a fantastic upgraded combo for larger fish species at this point. Take advantage of the giant Amber Lake for its multitude of carp species using boilies, pellets, or zig rigs with number 5 to number 2 size hooks. You can also keep up to date with the latest ground baits, rigs, and locations by following along with the RF4 Discord for a chance to land some of the most varied and largest carp in the game. Copper Lake features many carp species to target via bottom setups, including the beautiful koi, which is featured with 5 different variants. A 6,000 size reel is highly recommended for this location though, given the size of some of these carp you may hook into. Jigging and trolling for char, lake trout, and salmon can also be a great option for Ladoga Archipelago if slightly more active fishing is more your style. As you reach level 28, you may consider this as your last long walk towards endgame. At this point, you have nearly all the fishing locations unlocked and decent gear to target most of the fish species in the game. Upgrading your gear now will be expensive, but will allow you to plan for the Norwegian Sea with saltwater proven gear at level 34, or at least allow you to target some of the largest freshwater fish in the game. Good locations between level 28 and 34 would be Octuber River, the Ladoga Archipelago, and the Yama River, depending on your interest. Similar to the 26 to 28 level range, jigging and trolling for char, lake trout, and salmon can be a great option at Ladoga Archipelago, while on the Yama River, spin fishing with spoons, spinners, and walkers, or float fishing with insects or roe can prove successful when targeting trout and salmon species. Octuber River has many large fish species including the Wells catfish, sturgeon, buffalo, wild carp, bighead, and grass carp. While Wells catfish and sturgeon with number 1 to 4/0 hooks may still be a bit difficult without upgrading your reels to the Tagara or Vengus reels, the carp species in buffalo targeted with number 5 to number 2 size hooks offer a great fight as well as good silver and XP gain. Float fishing for herring and Shemaya is another great option with multiple rods. Upgrading your HSV reel to the Tagara reel at 5,800 to 24,000 silver or Venga reel at 21,000 silver and up can be a great option at this point as you improve over time. This is also a great time to determine if you like spinning or casting reels better, but to properly prepare for the Norwegian Sea at level 34, it may be beneficial to start choosing gear that are saltwater proven. Now reaching level 34, you've successfully unlocked the current last location in Russian Fishing 4, the Norwegian Sea. Saltwater proven equipment such as the previously mentioned Tagara or Venga reels will be paramount at this location as you prepare for pilking deep sea fish or jigging, as I've tried to determine the difference between the two, but I've come up a bit empty. Let me put it this way, side story. When I was jigging in Alaska for cod and halibut, I was using what would be referred to as pilkers in RF4, but they just referred to them as jigs up in Alaska, and they had no idea what pilking was. But you can also tempt larger species in RF4, such as halibut and swordfish, with attached bait. And with that, the current basic leveling guide to RF4 is complete. You should have equipment to target almost every size of fish in the game, and if not, at least working towards them. This is when you can also start working towards additional setups to target carp at Copper or Amber Lake with multiple rods to increase your chances of a bite, or start chasing down local records at each water body to put your name down as a digital fishing legend. But that's not all. In addition to the leveling guide, the devs at RF4 also gave me 15 tips to get you on the right start of your fishing journey. So let's cast into those rapid fire mode. Number 1, cafe orders are a great way to make extra money from packaging your fish of a certain size, but make sure not to focus on only one of the orders in the cafe. Choose 2 or 3 orders and target them all at the same time. Likely, you will receive bycatches that might fill other orders as well. Number 2, if your fishing spot isn't working after a few minutes, try a different lure or bait or a different depth if you're float fishing, and if the spot is still weak, just move on and try a different location. Don't spend too much of your time on locations that aren't showing signs of fish. Number 3, some fish species are better to target at night and some are better during the day. Recognizing these fish species is an important part to making the most of your fishing days. Because of this, early mornings can often be the best time for the majority of fish species. Number 4. Knowing about fishing in-game and in real life can be valuable, but there is also up-to-date knowledge available via the RF4 community on Discord, including active spots, setups, gear, and general information about the game. Being part of the community helps a lot while you're playing RF4. Number 5. There are technically official game guides for RF4, which I'll leave links to down in the description. They say they're very old style, but still have a lot of helpful information. Number 6. Spend your silver wisely. Try and test different baits first without buying large quantities, without knowing whether they work well or not. Who knows, what works this week may not be what works well next week, so make sure to play smart. Number 7. When setting up your tackle, always remember your line or leader must be the weakest point in your setup. It is cheaper to buy or craft a leader or replace a hook than repair a broken reel mechanism or throw away a rod that is broken. Number 8. Start with thinner lines and smaller hooks. Generally, thinner lines and smaller hooks equal more fish. Picture the lip of the fish you're targeting and plan your hook size appropriately. Number 9. If you've broken your setup and have no money to replace it, you can always go back to the administration building to get a basic free setup for beginners. You can get this free float and spinning combo once every 24 in-game hours. Number 10. Baiting with ground feed. Yes, it helps with targeting certain fish species, but it is important not to overfeed the fish. There is more info about feeding, PVA, etc. that can be found in the RF4 guides on the forum and Steam. Number 11. Weather and temperature is also a very important part for most fish species in RF4. If the weather is not good for a certain fish species, they won't bite as much and vice versa. This knowledge about fish behavior can be a savior when fishing. Number 12. Do not stay very long on one water body or map. If you notice that bites are reduced at all of your favorite fishing locations, try changing up your water body, let the good spots rest, and come back after a few in real life hours. Number 13. Weekly records. Just because the community leaderboard has made one lure popular doesn't mean that there isn't a better lure out there. Keep experimenting and you may start the newest fad lure craze yourself. Number 14. When choosing a water body, there are icons as well as a 1 to 5 rating on how well the water body works for each method there is in the game. Use this to plan for your next trip with your available gear. And lastly, number 15. Players can buy temporary trips for the Norwegian Sea and Copper Lake at the moment for a few in real life dollars. And I have a handful of information tied to this one. First off, one trip lasts 5 in-game days or 5 real life hours. Every player can buy this up to 3 times. Now for the duration of the trip, the tackle suited for this trip and some baits are given to the player. They don't pay extra for it and you do not have to pay for the repairs. This tackle will be removed from your equipment once the trip is finished. Trips are a good way for gaining a bit of silver and trying new fishing methods, especially the Norwegian Sea trip, which can bring a good amount of income that can be used by players to buy new tackle. Trips will also help in getting you a good amount of XP. Before going on the trip, you should make sure to check out the Discord for working spots and baits to make the most out of your journey. Now, if you travel to the Norwegian Sea, players should stay in a more shallow area in order to target small and medium-sized fish with more frequency to give good income. These spots are great for the rental tackle that is given to you while targeting very big species such as sharks, halibut, and swordfish. Not so much. And lastly, if you're headed to Copper Lake, you will receive a number of nature baits to target koi species and F1 carp. These bring in a good amount of silver, but similarly, small and mid-sized fish such as tench and barbel will be more frequent, offering good opportunities for silver and XP. But with that, I hope you have the confidence to move forward in your RF4 journey. We've given you a basic leveling guide for the duration of the game, locations to venture to, tackle and gear recommendations, target fish species, and much, much more. Now, as a reminder for those of you, Russian Fishing 4 is only available on PC for the moment, but for those of you real-life anglers and those who love fishing games, I hope you give it a try or use this guide to get back into the game if you've taken a break from it. Now, if you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful in any way, I hope you give us a like and consider subscribing for more future videos. And if you have any helpful tips for your fellow angler, make sure to comment it down below, and I'm sure someone may find it handy. If you want to join us at our live streams every Wednesday night from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central, I hope you do so. Always a ton of fun to have other anglers around talking about the joys of fishing and fishing games. But until the next episode, everyone, take care, and as always, remember everyone, we're one planet, one family, game on.